Hi everybody, it's Casey Williams. This past weekend, a few friends and I decided to do an Indiana bourbon run. We started in Indianapolis and ended up in southern Indiana and had a really good time. And while I drank very, very little on this trip because I was driving, I had the perfect vehicle to drive. The 2023 Mercedes GLC300. Let's go look at it. The GLC is Mercedes' smaller crossover. It's not as small as the GLA, it's not as big as the GLE or GLS. It's really, that sweet spot of being almost a mid-sized vehicle, but also small enough to enjoy driving and easily park. And they recently updated the styling, and I really like what they did. And they made it look a little more like the electric vehicles that are coming out, the EQ series. But I think it's also more of a traditional Mercedes looks, and it looks really nice, honestly. Traditional grille with the big star, and the bar across it looks great. Little chrome detailing, LED headlamps. And I really like what they've done with the body surfacing. They didn't use the twin hood bulges, which has been kind of tried on some of the Mercedes recently. It just looks really good. It looks very muscular and looks very streamlined. And just very elegant creases. I don't think it's a very fancy design. I mean, it's not super distinguished, but it's very clean, looks very German, and I think most people like it. 19-inch alloy wheels, I think also look very good. And again, the side profile, just traditional Mercedes. Kind of the moon shape of the window line, chrome. I like the chrome detailing here on the handles as well. Again, just very classy. Come around the back, you'll see they really streamlined the tail lamps. Again, looking a lot like the EQ models, just really sleek, wrap around, look very nice. Power hatch. This is only a two-row vehicle, so there's quite a bit of luggage space in the back. All very nicely carpeted, chrome handles, aluminum finish, coming into the cabin. And the rear seats actually split three different ways. The two side cushions split open, and the middle also if you've got to pass through for skis or other long objects. I really like the updated interior on the GLC. It really starts with the sienna brown MB Tex. These aren't real leather. They're over-glorified vinyl. But anybody who knows Mercedes history knows that these seats will likely outlive the car. Easy to wash down, look really good, and honestly most people think they are leather. So I like that a lot. Nice deep bolsters, nice comfortable headrest. Looks very nice. These are heated up front and very comfortable. But I really like what they've done with the dash layout. I like the new infotainment screen. This really is copied from the S-Class and the EVs, and I think it all works really well. I like the tablet style. Everything's laid out. Nice little icons you can press on. Screen pops up. This is for my phone, and then you can make it go away really quickly. Devices. Again, my phone's connected, but you can just, like I said, you just touch on it, up it goes. Phone, navigation. You got wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, easy connector devices. Down here in the little garage in the cubby hole, there's wireless charging for your phone. Also USB ports if you want to plug in with a wire. But I think it works really well. I also like the flat screen instrument cluster and traditional gauges with the speedometer and tachometer. Very cool, very traditional Mercedes, but also looks really good and really glitzy. So again, all of this I like an awful lot. If there's one thing, it's a little hard to see, but everything, the volume's all touch, so you kind of swipe screen it here. There's a little button here. There's no volume knob, no tuning knob. I kind of wish there was. This works okay. You can also swipe it here on the steering wheel for volume. And the cruise control works the same well. They're just little touch pads, and you just kind of rub them with your finger. Same thing with the dual pane sunroof. If you want the cover, you just swipe the cover like that. And that's actually the sunroof opening, so you can kind of see how it works. But there's really, I didn't press a button, I just swiped it with my finger and it did it. Very cool. I love the dashboard design. Traditional Mercedes, you've got walnut or zebrano wood on the dash, and it looks really pretty. But I like what they've done. It's a very modern take on some of the traditional cues. I like the dark wood, really pretty, and you can feel it's got texture to it. The carbon fiber look here in the center console. And one of the little things I really like too is you got the three air vents in the middle, and they do kind of click in place, so they're there. Very easy to turn everything. But it's also kind of a nod to history too. The Mercedes 560 SLs from the 80s, the E-Class from the late 70s and 80s, all had the two vents on the side, the three in the middle. So kind of a nod to that too, a real modern thing. This car also has the Burmester audio system. Sounds absolutely fantastic. On the road, we had four of us in here and just cranked it right up. It sounded beautiful. If I had one complaint here, really, is there's not a lot of rear seat legroom. This is the smaller car. If you want more legroom, that's what we're worried about. There is the GLE that's quite a bit bigger and more of a full-size vehicle. Safety systems, this has just about everything. Automatic emergency braking, it's got adaptive cruise control, lane centering, lane keep assist, blind spot warning, rear cross path detection. And then it also has a lane change system, so you just turn the turn signal, it uses the blind spot indicators, make sure there's nothing there, and it moves itself over to the next lane and and repositions itself. So it really takes a lot of load off of the driver on the road. Set the adaptive cruise, let the radar just keep you at a safe distance, and then lane change simply is press a button. So I had a really nice drive and a very comfortable way of doing it too. So during our drive, we had first part of our drive, we had 2 hours on the interstate, trying to get to a tour date at a time. So we were really trying to make time getting down there. And then afterwards, we kind of weaved our way back through 2-lane roads. It looked like they could have been in Kentucky, back to our second stop. So really got a good mix of flat out interstate driving, high speed, and then also how the vehicle handles on the back roads. What I would say on the interstate, this has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 255 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Routes that through a 9-speed automatic transmission to standard all-wheel drive on this vehicle. So it really, again, plenty of power. You do 0 to 60 at 6.2 seconds. So it's a quick crossover. But running pretty much whatever speed you want, there's plenty of power in reserve. I was running something above 70 miles per hour, and turning 2,000 RPMs with a 6,500 RPM red line. So the engine was just really lazy, just doing really well. The advantage to that is fuel economy. The engine's not working real hard, and you get 23 miles per gallon in the city, 31 on the highway. So a vehicle with 255 horsepower and get 31 highway, I think that's really good. But beyond the engine and the powertrain, what I really like about this is it does not have the air suspension system that a lot of Mercedes have now. And I had a GLE not too long ago, the bigger crossover, and to me it just drove like a 1970s American luxury sedan. It just kind of wafted on the highway, but it also just kind of was not well controlled. This is more of a traditional Mercedes. It feels very heavy on the highway, but there's nothing complicated about this suspension either. I mean, it's as far as not having air suspension, it's a sophisticated design, but the air suspension isn't on it. So it plants itself well. Around the 2-lane roads, and never felt overwhelmed by the narrow low roads at all. Steering's tight, suspension's tight. You just tuck it right into a corner, and it just handles. But it's not disturbed by bumps or bridge embankments or anything else. It just really cruises down the highway very nicely. And one of my friends she got in the back seat of the car and totally went to sleep. She's like I've never been in a car that's this quiet and this smooth, and the aerodynamics was just really a joy to be in. So overall, I had a really nice drive. Drove about 5 or 6 hours on the trip in a good number of conditions, but really enjoyed the drive. Well, I don't think anybody would say that the GLC is inexpensive. For all you get, that's a very fair price. Well, next week, another fun car. Until then, storm forward.